Hey everyone, Dan here. Now, this video is a bit different. This isn't, a kind of typical thing that I do, and it won't become the norm either. It's not like a movie or TV review this time. It's a broader look at to do with YouTube and social media and online kind of things in general. And it's something that I've had thoughts on the past few weeks. I wanted to get it out into a video because I wanted to just talk about it and see if any of you sort of feel the same way. And it's just something I've been finding quite interesting recently, and that is to do with short form content, obviously popularized by TikTok. But in terms of my experience as a YouTuber, it's mainly my experience is with YouTube Shorts. In this video, I'm not going to go into sort of the science or the psychology of short form content and how it plays into the decreasing of attention spans in the modern culture, or how it provides an easy dopamine hit. Many of other people and much smarter people than me have gone into that kind of stuff, so I'm not going to parrot that again. There's no point in doing that. And I'm also aware as well that in the sort of underbelly, the kind of nasty underbelly of YouTube Shorts, you can get some real horrible piece of work, whether it's like teenagers trying to be edgy and stuff, or just, blatant just trolling and bigotry and just kind of general nastiness can often fester in YouTube Shorts. Again, I won't be going into that because this video is based on my experience with YouTube Shorts as a content creator, and thankfully that doesn't happen with mine. But even though I'm not a big YouTuber, I'm a YouTuber with less than 500 subscribers, I can still feel the impact that short form content can have on people. I see the responses and sort of the behaviour it can draw from people, even just the kind of stuff that I do. And I thought it was quite interesting to look at, and I wanted to sort of explore that in this video, and also maybe see if you had a platform like TikTok that was just entirely made up of short form content, how that's probably not a good thing. In fact, I was asked a few weeks ago, oh, Dan, you should get TikTok. And I should say for the record, I don't have TikTok, and I don't plan to get it, mainly because it is just all short form content, and it's just gonna be a constant distraction. I can get distracted very easily with social media, so that's my worst enemy right there. So nah. Should just say as well, I've got a lot of notes on my laptop, so that's why if I keep looking over here in the video, that's why I'm just referring to my laptop, because I had a lot of thoughts and I wanted to jot it all down so I kind of get everything in. But yeah, it's going to be a kind of more conversational, less scripted necessarily. It's more just rambling and just a kind of stream of thought here. But yeah, so the main YouTube Shorts that I do, obviously it relates to what I mainly do on the channel, which is movie, pop culture kind of content. I talk about films and TV and franchises generally. I do reviews and rankings and such, and the shorts reflect that. Yeah, of course, there are some exceptions. I've often done like little kind of comedy skits with the shorts and whatnot. But the main ones that tend to get the most traction, the most viewership, are the sort of movie-related ones, and especially the ones where I'm ranking something or listing something, because I've had a look at them as well, and the top three in terms of viewership, the top three shorts I have, they fall into that category, and they are the James Bond film ranking, the Inside Number 9 show ranking, and the top 10 movies of 2023. Those are the three most popular shorts I have on the channel in terms of views. And these are the most popular ones, and they reach like 1,000 views, like thousands of people watching it, like 2,000, 3,000. Another Bond one has like over 5,000 people have seen that one. And they get a lot of views, and a lot more than the kind of long form videos I do, which is a bit disheartening, but I have to play the game, but I don't have to enjoy it. That's my mentality. But they get a lot of views, but with those kind of quickfire rankings, there's a few things I've noticed with the reception of them that if it were the norm, like it is on a TikTok, for example, it can have a negative impact, I think. Now, I know a lot of people do these kind of quickfire movie rankings and such. I know a lot of like other film creators. I know they do them. Where you have just a 2-second clip from the film or the show or whatever. You have a 2-second clip and then you move on to the next. It is literally just the thing that you are ranking, and then a numbered placement. That is all you get, and it can be fun to make, and it can be fun to like when I make them, and it's kind of cool to sync it up with the music and whatnot. The clips, it can be entertaining, and when you watch it, it can be satisfying when when it's all kind of neatly quickly put together. It's all in sync and in time with the music. It can be fun to watch. Again, it kind of gives that sort of, I guess, dopamine hit in a way. But the thing is, that's all you get. There is no elaboration, there's no extra context. Rarely will there be even a numbered score or a star rating, whatever, which I often like to put in some of the other rankings that I do. There's none of that. It's just the thing that you're ranking and a rank placement, and that is it. And what I've noticed is that it really dumbs down and simplifies the conversation, and then that can result in people getting more defensive in the comments, in contrast to longer form videos I do, which typically people in the comments, because I'm providing kind of a strong argument for my case, people can bounce back with a strong counter argument that's more nuanced and in depth, and they explain their reasoning in the comments, which can often lead to, you know, healthy debates and discussions. But with the shorts, that doesn't happen because I'm offering barely anything in terms of the actual content. So therefore, people's, you know, arguments aren't going to be as nuanced. I mean, here's just like a little example. If I said in a short, or imply in the short, I'm just trying to think, the City of Death is the worst Doctor Who story, right? I just say that in a YouTube short, right? But then if I say that in-depth ranking, City of Death is the worst Doctor Who story because of the writing, the directing, or the acting, whatever. Just to clarify, I don't actually think I adore City of Death. But basically, the point being is that which one's going to encourage more debate? It's the second one, because I'm providing more reasons. It's not just City of Death is bad. It's City of Death is bad because X, Y, and Z. That's going to spark more conversation. But the shorts, they very much follow the mold of point A, really. Now, in the comments of these shorts that I do, you know, I've noticed that, you know, the comments can be very defensive and very blunt, and, you know, and the one that I noticed the most on was, well, the most popular one, the James Bond one, which is the most viewed. So naturally, it's going to get more traction, and is more susceptible to more negativity, basically. Oh yeah, that video, you know, you did get a couple of people just being trolls, but there was a little pattern that I noticed across a few people that they mentioned in that comment section, and it was my placement of Casino Royale in that ranking, and how it seemed very low, and people weren't happy about that, because basically, for those who aren't Bond fans, Casino Royale, that's Daniel Craig's first Bond film in the year of our Lord 2006 it came out, and it's often revered as one of the best of the franchise, if not the best of the franchise. Personally, it's not really my favourite. I personally am not mad on the Daniel Craig films. Generally, I just prefer the more fun, fantastical ones like GoldenEye or Spy Love Me. I don't really like the gritty ones like Casino Royale, but I still think it's a really well-made film. I'd probably give it like a 4 stars, 4 or 5 stars, or an 8 out of 10 I've often given it. And I'd still stand by that. I think it's a really strong film, just not my all-time favourite. So I think it just seems, it's just basically the case of I prefer 13 other films, you know, because I placed it at 14 out of 25. That's where I placed it. So if you looked at that statistically, yeah, it's gonna seem like I think it's a bad Bond film because it looks like it just comes below the halfway point, like just about. So I guess just looking at it statistically, it seems like I consider it a weaker Bond film, which I absolutely don't. I mean, I love the majority of them anyway, but that's what I mean in terms of the conversation is quite simplified. So people don't really have that context of, oh, I think it's a great film, I just prefer the others, or it's not really to my taste. No, it's just Casino Royale is here, and you don't have any other context, and it dumbs down the conversation, so people will get more defensive, and it festers a bit more like an aggressive sort of counter argument instead of a more constructive one. And obviously with these kind of more, I suppose more hot, these sort of controversial hot takes, even though they are just opinions on movies and whatnot, you know, I'm somebody who in my videos I want to be truthful. I don't want to just I just wanted to say how I think. If it's against the grain, I don't, in the nicest way possible, I don't really care. You know, I will say my opinions. This is how I feel about this movie or this episode, or, you know, I'll just say it, you know, and I'll provide my explanation, I'll provide my reasoning, but I'm not going to follow the norm if I don't believe it, you know. I probably should quickly clarify actually that I don't get offended necessarily by these comments. I've very much learned just to not let them bother me. I can often just sort of, you know, just sort of brush them off, and, you know, they're just people hiding behind a keyboard, you know, I don't actually know who they are. So it's not, I'm not offended by it. It's just that because it happens so infrequently on the channel, I notice it more when it does happen. So that's why I'm kind of interested in it. It's not me sort of being like, play the world's smallest violin, you know, I'm really offended. I'm not. It's just I tend to notice it because it doesn't happen that often. Now, another video that had this sort of reaction, but to a larger extent, it's not a YouTube short, but I think it falls under short form content, and it was a meme that I did. It was the most popular, most viewed video on the channel. It's the Michael Rosen Doctor Who meme, which I made. So this was a thing that was going around a couple of years ago. People making Michael Rosen memes, you know, Michael Rosen clips of him going like, you know, nice, or a bit rich, but okay, you know, him doing that, and then sort of using those clips as a way to express their opinions on franchise they love. So you'd see it on like Michael Rosen describes every Marvel movie or every Star Wars movie or every Rocky movie or what have you. And I was looking and I was thinking, I haven't seen anybody do a Doctor Who one yet, or one that's got any traction. I'm going to do that. And as I say, I don't sugarcoat my opinions, so I especially with Doctor Who, I have very controversial opinions on certain series of the revival. In particular, my higher than usual placement of Doctor Who Flux or Series 13, and my very, against them, my lower opinions of Series 9, which those are the ones that really got the most contention. The thing is, the Michael Rosen memes, they had the similar issue as the shorts, because, again, it is sort of dumbing down the conversation to just these quick-fire little clips and whatnot, and, it's just using Michael Rosen's face as your opinions, and it's not allowing that nuance. It's just using this sort of, it's almost like a formula that you're using, and you're just, taking, these clips, these pre-existing clips, and you're just using that to say your opinion, even if it's maybe not entirely reflective of your opinion. And obviously we saw the clips, especially the more negative ones, and it was like, Michael Rose was like, oh, that was horrible, or, bleh, it's like, some of those clips, they are inherently gonna, when you use them to share your opinion, they do come across more blunt and sort of more confrontational in a way. And so naturally, the response is going to be confrontational from people. I had some absolute zingers of comments from some people. It was like, your Series 9 slander makes me dislike. I dislike everything you stand for, and Series 11 must have fried his brain if he thought the rest were good. And like, it's just like people get really defensive. But it was, as I say, the effects of the YouTube Shorts, but tenfold, because so many more people saw it, and so many more people were going to comment, and I found it funny more than anything, but people do get defensive about that kind of stuff, and it's really, I was gonna say surprising, but really it's not. When you explain it like this, it's really not surprising why people get defensive and more confrontational and more blunt, because you've not given anything really substantial to engage with. I think another reason that why the Michael Rosen memes and also the YouTube Shorts, people are more inclined to be more blunt and direct, is because there isn't really a face there, or in the case of the Michael Rosen one, there is a face, but it's not mine, it's Michael Rosen's face, so I think people aren't seeing the real you. It's just in a way, when people are like keyboard warriors, really what I'm doing is the same. It's just I'm hiding behind clips from movies or Michael Rosen memes and whatnot. It's just me hiding behind that. It's not really me engaging with an audience in a more constructive way, And just like how on social media, people are more inclined to be more blunt because they don't actually see you. It's not them saying it, it's just they're hiding behind a keyboard. This is kind of the same logic in a way. And this is why I really like doing the sort of long form content, like the rankings and the TV discussions and reviews and all that. That's why I prefer doing that kind of format, and it's why I'm trying to steer my short form content a bit away from that. I feel like Jules in Pulp Fiction, I'm trying Ringo, I'm trying real hard. I felt like Jules at the end of Pulp Fiction, yeah. But anyway, back on topic. That's why I'm trying to aim for more of these sort of long form videos, like the three most recent ones I've done. I'm genuinely really proud, especially the film ranking as well, the film series ranking, because that did spark debate. Because obviously there's a lot of different films, and again I have some controversial opinions, mainly with the bottom picks I had, like Pan's Labyrinth and Do the Right Thing. But instead of being like, oh, you're wrong, people were having like a debate, back and forth. I had a great discussion with Pan's Labyrinth on the comment section of that video with somebody, and they give like a real long paragraph, and I read it, and I like doing that, and I encourage you to do that if you don't agree. Give me these reasons, because then I'll come back at it, and maybe you might open my eyes to something I didn't really consider, or maybe I'm thinking a friendly agree to disagree. But I enjoy having those kind of debates, and I've had that with some of the other rankings that I've done this year. Obviously, obviously they were kind of in the mold of the monthly rankings that I did in last year. But some of the ones like the Wes Anderson ranking and the Tarantino ranking, I had some very controversial takes in some of those, like the Fantastic Mr. Fox opinion. I know riled a few people up, and I say riled. A lot of people don't agree with that, which I get. I'm very much in the minority of that one. I know in the Tarantino one, I think the Kill Bill opinion, I think a few people were like, oh, it's. You're being a bit harsh from Kill Bill there. But if I'd just done that as a short, first and foremost, you would get people very defensive. They'll go, oh, Kill Bill shouldn't be that low, or Fantastic Mr. Fox shouldn't be that low. People would get more defensive about it, and rightly so. That's why when I did that Tarantino short ranking, I did it after the big long ranking, and that's why at the end of that short, I also was like, check out the full video that I've linked here for more in-depth views, because it's like, if that gives you a little taster. It's like, if you like this, check out this. It's more of a companion piece than its own thing. That's what I want to make those shorts ranking more like in the future. And also I'll just do general silly stuff on there, like, you know, there was like me versus Peter Capaldi. It was just like an outtake I had, and I thought it'd be funny to make them into a little short. So, you know, I'll just do silly stuff like that, and, you know, make the rankings or and such more companion pieces to full-length videos, because I think that'll be better. That'll just be better, I think. And even though, yes, I've said that people can be quite defensive on when they don't agree, I've also got to say as well that I've been having this recently. A few people have been commenting and whatnot, and saying, you know, even if they maybe don't agree with them, they're like, I respect that, you know, these are, you know, these quite out there takes, but I respect that you speak your mind, and I respect that approach and whatnot. And I want to thank you back, because I'm glad that you respect that, and, you know, I love having these discussions and such. It's great. And that's why I maintain that I want to carry on doing more of the kind of long form content that I've been trying to do, more so like sort of last year and this year. I really want to kind of push that further, because I think it's going to be sort of it's going to do a net good, I think. I mean, it's the reason that podcasts are also a big, you know, thing these days. You know, a lot of podcasters, you know, really making the mark these days. You know, there's so many out there. And yeah, it gets a lot in. You can get a lot in, and you're not necessarily limited to a time frame like you would be like a news program or a pundit show where you have like a debate. But no, you got to meet the schedule, because the next program is on at 5, so we got to call it off. It's like you'll always see. It's like that's all we've got time for today, you know. And it can hinder the conversation. It can just sort of restrict it from what you can, you know, to have as much nuance as you want. I kind of want my content to be a sort of happy medium between the length of like a podcast, but ultimately they are very long, and not everyone may have the time for that. So I want them to be in depth enough, but also, you know, to an extent more powerful. I say like a happy medium, because to maintain people's attention, but also to have that depth and nuance. Well, I want it to be a happy middle ground. Yeah, ultimately this did become like Jules from Pulp Fiction. He was very reflective. He was very reflective at the end of the movie. And I've been very reflective on what I want to do with the channel, which I think actually that's actually good to have, because, you know, I'm not perfect. You know, nobody's perfect. And I've only really been thinking about as I've been recording this video. Again, these are just ideas that have been coming into my head, but really, you know, I think, yeah, it was a lot of those shorts I'd do. It would just be because, you know, it's quite, I guess it is quite, you know, a bit vain, but it's very much because they would get views, and I knew they would get views, but I don't want that to be the driving force behind them. If they get views, that's great, and I'm aware that it's a good way to get traction. But as I've explained, I don't want them to just be them. I want them to go alongside something else, something more constructive and informative that I've made, like a long form video, maybe like a companion piece, or just be something funny to entertain. And it's simple as that. You know, if it's something quite simple format wise, just to have it be something simple and funny. You know, that's the approach I want to take going forward. And you know what, I've liked having this bit of reflection. See, I know this became very rambly, but it's something I've wanted to talk about for a few weeks now, actually. I just wanted to get this out there. And I say it won't become like a norm. It won't become the norm of my channel, but yeah, I just, you know, what do you think of all this? You know, I can only think of Pulp Fiction, because I was just thinking like, oh, Marvin, what do you make of all this? Well, you gotta have this video just turned to just a crappy British remake of Pulp Fiction now, hasn't it? Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and just let me know, and again, let's start a discussion. What do you make of all this? You know, what are your opinions on the kind of short form content and the pros and cons of it? You know, let me know all that in the comments. I'll be really interested to see what you have to say about it. And would you like any more kind of these, I suppose, more discussion-y videos on different kind of topics? Would you be interested in this kind of stuff? Let me know. So, with all that said, you take care and have a great day.